She was never hired. She never spoke. But every morning, the towels were folded and something was watching from the hallway. Found the listing on a luxury rental site, the kind that catered to long-term business travelers. A mansion-turned-guest house in upstate New York, split into 3 suites, each with its own wing. It was quiet, remote, and beautifully maintained, perfect for a writing retreat after a brutal year. The listing said full housekeeper service included. I figured that meant someone came by weekly to clean or change the linens. I didn't ask questions. The price was cheap for what I was getting. For weeks of solitude and a view of the forest from every window. I arrived in late March. There was still snow on the ground and a bite in the air that settled into your clothes if you stood outside too long. The house was massive white pillars, stone steps, long creaky corridors, and completely empty when I arrived. Or so I thought. That first night, I unpacked and fell asleep early. Around 6 a.m., I woke to the sound of soft footsteps down the hall. I assumed it was the housekeeper, though I never heard the door open. When I went to the bathroom, the trash had been emptied and a fresh towel was draped over the rack. I didn't see anyone, but everything was clean. The next few days followed the same pattern. I'd wake early, hear faint movements, quiet footsteps, the occasional clink of glass or soft brush of cloth, and find that the bed had been made, dishes washed, and lights turned off when I forgot them. I thought it was strange, but not disturbing. Whoever this housekeeper was, they were incredibly efficient, and apparently preferred to remain unseen. On the 4th night, I got curious. I stayed up late, pretending to sleep with the bedroom door cracked just slightly open. Around 5:50 a.m., I heard the doorknob turn slowly, carefully. A figure stepped inside. I could only see their silhouette in the dim light, but it was unmistakably a woman. Small, hunched slightly, dressed in a long, dark skirt. She moved soundlessly, picking up a glass from the nightstand and folding the blanket at the foot of the bed. Waited for her to say something. A polite good morning, a knock, anything. She never did. She left as quietly as she entered. The next morning, I mentioned her in an email to the property manager. "Who's the housekeeper?" I asked. "She's great, but I've never caught her name." His reply was quick. "There shouldn't be anyone in the house. We haven't used a live-in housekeeper in years." I stared at the screen, rereading the message 3-4 times. I called him. He confirmed it. There were no staff on site. Cleaning was done between guest stays. He insisted I check the locks, and even offered to send someone out to make sure no one had broken in. But there were no signs of forced entry. Nothing was missing. Everything was tidy. That night, I locked my bedroom door. I stacked a chair in front of it. I left a note outside, "Who are you?" In the morning, the chair was still there. The door was still locked, but the note was gone, and the towel had been folded again. The next night, I set up a camera, just my phone angled toward the bedroom door, recording in low light. I reviewed the footage the next morning with trembling hands. At exactly 5:57 a.m., the door opened without a sound. The handle didn't even move. She stepped in, the same shape, the same dark clothes, but this time she turned toward the camera. Her face was pale, almost gray, and expressionless. Her eyes were wide open to wide, and there was no recognition, no reaction to the camera. She walked straight toward the bed, stared at the blanket, then turned and left. The door closed behind her. I paused the footage, zoomed in. Her feet weren't touching the ground. I packed my bags immediately. I left a message for the manager saying I was checking out early. I didn't wait for a response. I drove 6 hours back to the city, shaking, unable to process what I'd seen. 2 days later, the property manager called me. He sounded confused. "Hey, I got your message," but when our cleaner went in to prepare the room for the next guest, she said everything was spotless. Towels folded, sheets tucked, dishes washed. It was like you'd never been there. I didn't respond. I didn't know how to. Later that week, a package arrived at my apartment. No return address. Inside was a single folded white towel and a note, written in shaky script, "You forgot to tip her."